Travis Flora, and today we're going to be talking about campus activities. More specifically, what is available to the students at Morehead State University. To start off our program, we have with us Mr. Clyde James, Director of the Adron Doran Activity Center, ADAC to those of us who are familiar with this campus. And hello, Mr. James, how are you today?
Just fine. Glad to be with you this afternoon.
All right. I was wondering if you could start off by telling us just what exactly is available to the students at ADAC.
Okay, first of all, we have a facility, the Adron Doran Activity Center. As you say, we use the acronym ADUC. And it's quite interesting. Sometimes we get mail addressed to ADUC, but it says ADUCK. We always get a chuckle out of that. Primarily, we have meeting rooms for the students. We have equipment, of course, if they need an overhead projector or a screen for some reason, TVs, VCRs, flip chart stands. Some people even ask for a 16-millimeter projector occasionally. Ours are not in good shape right now. Slide projectors, things of that nature that they would need in conducting meetings. Now, this, of course, is not just for the students. It is available to any student organization on campus, but it's also available to faculty, staff, the administration, for them to use in their meetings and activities also.
Okay, you have quite a bit of demand for the meeting rooms?
Oh, yes. In fact, each day by 4:30, and I just brought the ones that we have today, we make up a little sample of what's going on. This was today. You can see in the morning wasn't too busy right there. However, you can see in the evening, it gets to be busier. Most of those are student organizations having activities in the evening because during the day, they're in classes.
Right.
We do not have a conference center here at Morehead State University, and many people come in and have conferences there. This Children's Alliance is not a university activity. It's a activity that will go on for 4 days, but it's people coming in from the region to have a meeting. So we also act as a conference center at the University Center.
Okay, well, what kind of, you said that a lot of student activities or student organizations plan activities in the evenings. What are some of those activities, just for example?
Well, most of the activities are just their regular meetings, whether it be a fraternity or sorority meeting. It could be a Greek week meeting. For instance, an activity going on this evening, the Alpha Kappa Alphas are having their casino night up in the Kreger room. That's an activity. The others are just primarily meetings that they're having in the evening. But in many cases, in their meetings, they're planning activities.
Okay. So what are some of the other activities that can go on at ADUC?
Well, many things. We have coffee houses that are being sponsored by the English, Foreign Language, and Philosophy Department. Those are about every 2 weeks. They're held in the Grill on Tuesday nights this semester. I mentioned the casino night tonight. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow night is a night at the Apollo, I believe, as a part of Black History Month. The AKAs, I think, are doing that also. Then the non-traditional students are having a dance, excuse me, on Wednesday night, all kinds of things. The Delta Zeta State Day statewide meeting is being held here this weekend. We have not a university event, but we have a fishing, and I can't remember what kind of fish that we're talking about. I don't know, bass? Silver muskies, that's it. The silver muskies are having their meeting. I don't mean the fish, the people who fish for them, this weekend. We have a Central Kentucky Horse Show Association banquet that's there on Sunday evening. Lots of things that are going on.
So we'll go back to something you talked about earlier, the coffee house. What exactly is the coffee house that you're talking about?
Okay, now I should point out that I do not sponsor that. It's merely held in the
Right.
University Center. People get up and read their poetry. They may play their guitar. It may be 2 or 3 people in an act. It may be a person doing comedy. It's a variety of things in a coffee house. Many people just say, hey, let me get up and show my talent or whatever, and they do it.
Or lack of talent, whatever the case may be.
That's probably the case occasionally, yes. But I think people just like to get together and have something to do on occasion. There may be their friends that are up there performing. They come out and support them, many of them do.
How soon in advance do the organizations that want to use one of the conference rooms or other rooms, how soon in advance do they need to notify you to see what's even available, what times are available?
For example, today had a student have come by before 4:30, they could have gotten a room tomorrow. I mean, just let us know the day before by 4:30, and we'll see if we can provide something for them. In most cases, we can. Many student organizations will come in and schedule for the entire semester. They'll come in at the beginning of the semester and say, look, we want to have meetings every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Then we'll try to do it. In fact, it's easier on us to do it on a weekly basis that way at the very beginning of the semester than for someone to come in once a week and schedule the meetings. And that way the students know their meeting is going to be in room Y at a certain time, a certain day of the week, and it's just easier for them to remember it.
Right, just go ahead and mark it on the calendar well in advance. Now, is there any charge for the student organizations to use these rooms?
No, no charge whatsoever for the students to use the rooms or the equipment. We do ask, of course, that they let us know as far in advance as possible. If you walk in for a meeting at 5 o'clock today and ask for a TV and VCR, it may not be available because they may all have been taken. We may not have the personnel to get it there that fast. So if you'll let us know the day before, we'll try to have it there for you. Or we can tell you that we don't have it, and maybe you can make arrangements and get one from some other facility on campus.
Now, do these have to be official student organizations make the request, or can just say a group of students
Basically, Travis,
request?
it's student organizations that come in. If a group of students want to form a new student organization, they would need to see Mr. David Cox, who works with Greek Affairs and Student Organizations. He would give me a call and said, XYZ group wants to get formed, and we would give them a period of time, maybe 6 meetings or something of that nature, to put up some posters, tell people that they're having meetings to get organized, and we'll let them do that. They're not an official group yet, but they have shown an intent to form such a group.
Okay. I know that if you're going to have a meeting, a lot of times you got to have food too, and of course over in ADAC there's several places to eat. What types of places? It's growing, expanding. It seems like every semester.
The food service that would be available, say for special meetings or banquets, if we know that you need something to be catered, we make a copy of the reservation form and take it to catering so that they're aware that the student group or faculty or whoever it may be has made the proper arrangements to secure the room. You've got to have the room first before catering will go ahead and do anything. Then you go directly to catering and tell them that you want chips and dip. You may want a full sit-down dinner, as the DZs will be having this Saturday for their state day. It may just be punch and cookies. There's all kinds of things that the food service over there can furnish for you.
So they'll basically work with you to meet whatever needs you have.
Oh, yes.
As long as you get in touch with them in advance.
Yes, and are willing to pay for it.
Right.
Right.
Of course. Food is extra.
Yes, that's true.
But over like in the Main Street USA section, or MSU, excuse me, I think I was at Dollywood. They have like the Baskin Robbins opened up last semester, and some of the other places. How do you contract with those groups to come in, like the franchises to come in and set up their food booths there?
Okay, I should tell you, first of all, that's not part of my responsibility. However, I can tell you a little bit about it.
Okay.
PFM is the food service with whom Morehead has contracted to provide food for the students here at the university. PFM then goes out, to my knowledge, contacts Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts, and as I understand, Dunkin' Donuts is supposed to open up Wednesday or Thursday of this week, so if you're craving for donuts, get over there and stand in line this week. But they make the contracts actually with the various by the franchises and then go on from there. But it's actually PFM that has the contracts, to my knowledge, with Baskin Robbins, Taco Bell, etc., and Chick-fil-A over in Alumni, Burger King, and so on.
Okay. Now the bookstore also has its home in the first floor of ADAC.
Right.
What are some of the other things besides those that students can find in ADAC?
Okay. The post office, the bookstore, and the food service all come under administrative and physical services. But those are services that are provided to the students. So we're very happy to have them there because we think that it provides a service to the students, not only the books, but then also the supplies, souvenirs, and so forth that you can buy in the bookstore, or just mailing a letter.
Okay. Stamp outlet and everything else?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with all the different projects or activities that are available at ADAC, there's also a game room?
Yes. That's under my operation. We have 9 pool tables, 1 snooker table, and then a number of video and flipper or pinball games.
Making a comeback, are they?
Well, the pinball machines are very, very popular now. Some of the video games, I think, are waning in popularity. Yeah.
Okay. I understand that you have some plans for what's going to be happening on the 3rd floor. I wonder if you could share some of your plans with us for that.
Well, some of you may have been by the University Center today. New doors are being installed. The doors that had been up there, the part of the facility on which the doors are located, has been there for 26 years, and I think they've had 1 replacement before. So we're putting up new doors, and that's a very expensive venture. It may not look like a lot, but it is to replace the doors. So that's being done this week. We won't have them probably finished until sometime next week, but we'll still have 1 set of doors at least for people to come in and out of the building. In the wriggle room, during the month of August, we're hoping to have a renovation that will bring it up to date electronically, so we can actually have a teleconference center so that you or I or someone else on campus can actually go in there, talk to 3 or 4 other locations, and we can actually see each other and communicate with each other. A lot of money, I think, will go into that, but it will bring us up to date more, much more, than we are now technologically. And I think that's going to be an important innovation on this campus. Also on the third floor, the Heritage Room or the Gold Room, whatever you want to call it. It's called the Gold Room now, but it will be called the Heritage Room as I understand it in the future. I don't know if the official action has been taken on that. But the renovation is starting to take place. Actually, it hadn't started taking place, but we've pulled some of the ceiling tile out and that sort of thing to get things ready. It's going to be a beautiful room. Many of the people here in the community are helping to pay for and furnish the wood products that will go into that room. It will be a very, very expensive endeavor. Much of this is being paid for by the foundation. People have made contributions, and the people here in this community that furnish the woods are providing us with cherry, walnut, and oak woods to go in this room. And it should be one of the most beautiful rooms, in my opinion, in eastern Kentucky. Also on the third floor, well, actually throughout the first, second, third floor lobbies, but specifically the third floor, we have some plans that are just tentative, I should point out, for some beautiful chairs and so forth. And I think you may have a copy of it here on one of the cameras, yes. Now, this is not final by any means. This is just a sketch and some plans that someone has drawn out. But if you look at this, you can see the beautiful chairs and sofas and the fabrics that are to go on them. As I say, this has not been approved. This is just a plan. We would like to see it come about because we think the students need a nice place for a lounge. If they bring parents in, take them up to the third floor. We also have most of our nicer events, I would say, on the third floor, whether it be the nice holiday dinner, the gala that we have in the spring. Many of the activities are held on the third floor. We just have so much going on in the building. We just need to refurbish, we need to buy some new furniture. That's all there is to it. Because much of the furniture that's in the building has been there for about 26 years. And much of it's just breaking down. So we're hopefully going to get some changes in there.
Okay, well, it sounds like you have a lot of things planned there. And it also sounds like it's one of the areas I know a lot of students talk about, well, they're spending this money, but it's not helping the students any. When you are refurbishing the parts of ADAC and adding and expanding to ADAC, these are things that are really going to help the student directly.
Oh, I think so. If a student wants to go up on the third floor and just sit down and study or read a book, there are some places up there I still would like to have some more tables so that the students can go up there and just study. They can lay their book out and read, or they can do mathematics up there, or whatever it might be. But the third floor lobby in particular, we'd like to see it utilized more in a very nice manner. Not as a casual type place, but as a more formal type place, but a place where you can still feel comfortable enough to study.
Yeah, the part you were talking about earlier about the teleconferencing lounge, that really sounds intriguing to me because with the information revolution, basically the information highway being more accessible is going to be a key to the growth of people living in this area as well as the students here at Morehead.
Yes, we're constantly talking about in the last, year or so, distance learning, and I think this may be one of the ways in which we can feel more a part of that distance learning.
And the teleconferencing and the technology we have there would also be available to the students?
I would assume so. I think it's going to be very complicated. I probably won't even know how to operate everything in. We'll probably have to have some technicians to come in whenever it is being used to actually operate it.
Okay. Well, Clyde, thank you for being with us today. We're going to have you back in just a minute. We're also going to be speaking with Clara Keys, librarian of the Camden Carroll, whatever library. And we'll be back on Modern Images in just a moment.
Grandpa!
What?
Will I grow up to be big and strong like you?
I sure hope so, son.
Why wouldn't I, Grandpa?
Well, unless something is done soon, big old trees like me will be nothing but a memory, like the giants in the old fairy tales.
But Grandpa, what would the forest be without old ones like you?
I think they call it a tree farm, son.
My hero? Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Costner, Mr. Wong.
These are teachers, but to the kids they've reached, they're heroes.
My hero? Mrs. Wooten. If I don't get through to that child, who knows, maybe no one else will.
Teachers have the power to wake up young minds, to be heroes, to make a difference. Reach for that power. Teach. Find out how by calling 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
Mrs. Washburn, I'm Gerald Fry's mother.
Oh, don't you work nights?
I traded shifts. Mrs. Washburn, about Gerald. I wish I could help him learn better, but I'm no genius.
Well, you don't have to do the homework, but ask to see it. Let him show off what he learned. Praise him more. Show you care.
You think we got a chance here?
A good chance. Show me a parent who really cares, and I'll show you a kid who can learn.
If you're worried about the future, plant a tree today.
They clean the air we breathe, create beauty.
They cool our cities,
shade us in the summer,
conserve energy,
help fight pollution,
and protect us from the cold winter winds.
Birds will come here when it gets bigger. Children will play under its branches.
That's the miracle of trees.
Hey, why don't you plant a tree too? Please. Trees for America.
And we're back on Modern Images. I'm Travis Floor, and joining us now is Clara Keys, a librarian at the Camden Carroll Library. So tell me, Clara, what's going on at the library now? I understand y'all have a lot of things going on there right now.
We really do. The main thing that's happening right now is our new online system is coming up. In fact, it is available right now. We're doing circulation and cataloging on the new system. It's called the Unicorn system. It was selected last year. We did an RFP, and we had 3 major vendors come in, and people from the community, from the campus, the faculty and students really voted on this system as being the easiest to use and the one they liked the best. So we're glad to be implementing it now. We're having a big party on February the 28th. That's Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras Day, to celebrate coming up on the new system. And one of the things that we're doing is we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony and that sort of thing.
Okay, so does Unicorn stand for anything?
It's just the name of the system. That the company that produced it is the Cersei Corporation from Huntsville, Alabama, and they do a lot of work with the government, and that's what they named the system, Unicorn.
Okay, so why was the new computer system needed at the library?
The old one, which was developed in the early 80s, we got it in 87, and 8 years is 4 lifetimes in the computer world. It was very old and out of date. And what really happened was the company that owned it was sold to a larger company, and they declined to keep upgrading it and to do any kind of research and development on it. So it was dying, and we just simply had to move to a viable system.
So what's the main difference now between the new Unicorn system and the system that was being used for the last 8 years?
The LS2000. One thing we can do a lot more on Unicorn. With the LS2000, we had cataloging and circulation, but with the Unicorn, we'll be able eventually to do all of our serials, our ordering, all of that sort of thing online. One of the things that it also has is an online suggestion box, so that people, for example, if you go and you do a search and the book or whatever you're looking for is not there, you can do a suggestion right in the system, and somebody can get a message back to you about whether it's been ordered or not. Eventually, we will have periodicals on there as well. So if you're looking up an article in a particular periodical, that would be indexed right on the catalog with the books.
Okay. So I know the one thing, I do a lot of research over in the library, and you've got like the, I guess it's the Unicorn system where you can look up the different periodicals and things. Who updates that?
Most of the periodical indexes that we have come from commercial companies like University Microfilms, and one that we have is ABI Inform, which is a business database. And those are it's just like any kind of subscription. They come to us every month or so. They're done commercially by big national companies.
Saves a lot of work on you because I know there's...
We couldn't do it.
Right.
It would be impossible.
Okay. What are some of the other programs that are offered at the library besides the new Unicorn system?
Mm-hmm. There's a brand new Unix lab on the 4th floor of the library. There used to be an old Prime lab, and now it's been upgraded so that it's similar to the one in the Combs building. They have PCs, networked PCs, rather than just terminals, and that's a very nice facility. There's going to be some multimedia access to that as well, so there will be some video and that sort of thing. coming right in. I'm like you, I have no idea how all that's going to work, but it'll be really nice, and that is for student use. There's also a microcomputer lab on the first floor with software that can be checked out and laser printers and that sort of thing. We have a couple of conference rooms where people can meet and have small group discussions and that sort of thing. I think a lot of people think of the library as a quiet place to study, but we have so much activity going on, it's hard to find a quiet place in the library, but there are a couple of places that are designated study areas. We also have a late night study area that stays open till 12:30 or even 2:30 during heavy study periods, so various things.
But now, you mentioned the Unix lab. What exactly is that?
It is so new that I can't even tell you exactly what it is. There used to be, it's just a place to access the MSU ACAD system, and it used to just be a lab of terminals, just with dumb terminals that you could call up, do email and that sort of thing. But now it's, as I said, networked PCs, so they have a lot more capabilities for graphics and that sort of things.
Okay, now, is this the computer system you also use to get access to the internet?
You can do that there, yeah. That's going to be one of the good things about the new CERSI system, too. Eventually, it's going to have its own internet gateway as well. So, yeah, the internet is everywhere.
Okay. You said in the LRC that you had the computer lab on the first floor, and that students could check out software and actually computers also?
Well, yeah, they have some laptop computers that can be checked out. They have 15 of those. They're IBM compatible computers. And the software, they have many, many different kinds of software that can be checked out.
Yeah, I know that would come in very handy for a lot of students who aren't able to get to the computer labs because of the limited time they're offered. Check out a computer, take it home with you to your dorm or to your apartment, and
a lot of people
all
do
night.
That. Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I do quite a bit of research in the library, and in the LRC I noticed that there's all these videos stacked. It's like hundreds of them there. Are those available to students also?
Sure. Almost anything in the library, well, anything is available for students' use. Whether it can be checked out or not is a different question. But the videos that are there in the library are certainly available to be checked out by students. They have a shorter circulation period. They can be checked out for 3 days, and in most cases you can only get one renewal on them. But most of them are educational videos, but we have had some donations of movies and things like that. So yeah, they can be checked out by anybody with a library user's card.
So it's not so much the popular new releases like The Mask or Jurassic Park or something. It's more or less like maybe the PBS series on the Civil War.
Right, exactly. Or the whole BBC Shakespeare production. So it's more of an educational nature.
Okay. Well, Clara, I also want to thank you for being with us today, and we'll be back on Modern Images in just a moment to find out just how many students are using these programs. This is Modern Images.
Well, my friend dropped out of high school, and she was scared to death of going back.
I made everything more important than going back to school.
It was silly for her to be stuck in the same old job.
When I could be doing something more.
Oh, I pushed her and I pushed her to get her GED.
She pushed me and she pushed me.
I told her to do it for herself first.
And then to do it for my kids. My kids. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Get your GED.
Call today. The call's free and so is the program. Adult education, changing lives.
Okay, if you'll fill out this job application.
I couldn't read, but I was too embarrassed to do anything about it. He had his first car.
You're really doing better.
Don't waste another minute. Learn to read.
Change your life through literacy. The call's free and so is the program. Adult education, changing lives.
Boy, I really did it last night. Got drunk, acted stupid, went home with... Who is that? What, am I stupid? How did I do this? Barry began to worry, really worry. What about AIDS? Then he remembered, hey, I'm just a cartoon. I don't even have to shower. Get high, get stupid, get AIDS.
A tiny 5% of the people in the world consume 1/3 of its resources and produce almost half the non-organic waste. Those people are us. Nothing is destroying this planet faster than the way we North Americans live.
And we're back on Modern Images, and once again talking about campus activities. With me again is Clyde James, Director of ADAC, and Claire Keys, a librarian at the Camden, I'm going to get that right this time, Camden Carroll Library. And before we go any further, I understand, Claire, that you wanted to tell the students about a sale that's going on at the library.
Right. One of the things that's switching over to the new system is that we're trying to get all the records off the old system. So all the circulation records and any fines and fees that are associated with that need to just be removed so we don't have to deal with it anymore. And so what we're doing is we're offering 50% off all fines and fees on the old LS2000 system. If you've checked out something on the Unicorn system, bring it back because it doesn't count for the new system. But as long as they haven't already been turned over to a collection agency that we use for really, really delinquent fines and fees, you'll get half off. And February the 28th is the last day for that. So that's an important thing to keep in mind.
Okay. A lot of people will probably hopefully take advantage of that.
I hope so, yeah. Be a good time to do it.
Okay. I have a question for both of you now. You both talked about the different programs offered at the library and at ADAC, and a lot of the new plans that you all have or things that are already offered seems like they may coexist with some of the other, like you both offer conference rooms available. Is there very much interaction between the different parts of campus in determining what programs to offer?
Well, the thing is, if I don't have a conference room available and they need a small one, whoever it is, I would say you might check over at the library and see if you can use one of theirs, because I think yours are, they seat about 10 or 15
Something
maybe.
like that. They're very small.
They're small, and many times somebody says, well, I've got a committee meeting of just 10 people. Can't you find me someplace? And if we're booked up, I'll refer them over there to the library. Okay. And they may come to the library looking for something. Clara may say, well, you got a place for 50 people. You better go to the University Center. So we do a lot of referring, I think.
Right.
Okay. What about the development or implementation of new programs on campus? Again, you wouldn't want to offer the same exact thing at the library or ADUC or any of the other places on campus. How much planning between the departments do you do for that?
I think there's a lot of sort of centralized planning that goes on to avoid that kind of duplication. It would really be a waste of resources if we spent years and years and years planning a program that maybe Clyde was getting ready to implement immediately. And so I think there's enough oversight. There are a lot of shared governance kinds of activities that include faculty and staff and students on things like the planning committees and those kinds of things. And major programs don't go too far too fast without somebody doing some oversight to make sure they're not duplicating some other effort somewhere.
And that planning committee was implemented 2 years ago, 3 maybe? I'm not sure.
Something like that.
And they do it for the entire campus. They don't look just at the library. They may look at the library as a part of educating campus, and then bring about the changes in the library.
For example, the Unix lab that's been installed in the library is a program of information technology. It isn't even something that the library itself planned and implemented. It came from information technology.
Well, the same thing is true with the renovation of our wriggle room with the teleconferencing. I didn't request it. I'm very much in favor of it, and I think it's excellent.
Right.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Clyde and Claire, for being with us today. We're about out of time here today, but I do want to encourage everyone to take advantage of the opportunities we have on campus. These dedicated individuals put a lot of time into making this possible for us, so daggone it, use it. This is Modern Images. We'll be back next week.